We've already covered and looked at how we can do our own formatting on a spreadsheet so that we can colour the background in, we can change the font size, we can change the font colour, we can change the typeface, and a number of other items. But that formatting can be greatly increased and streamlined if we make use of table formatting. Now, in order to make use of table formatting, we must first select an area to format as a table. So if we take the working file Sales January, we have in here a set of data that has already been formatted to some degree, changed the typeface, the background colour, and made it look quite nice. But what I'd now like to do is to change this into table formatting. Now, in order to do that, we can either highlight the cells we're interested in, which is those ones there, or we can simply just click into an area. Then on the home ribbon, we come up to Format as Table. In the little drop down, we can then choose between different table styles. We've got a sort of section of light styles, section of medium styles, and a section of dark styles. So there's a lot more background color with these. Let's choose this orangey one here. Table style dark 3. It then makes an assumption as to the size of your table. Now it's chosen A1 to E6, and that's a great assumption because that's all of our data. Most of the time it will get the table size correct. If not, you can use the Browse button here and then manually highlight the data table you wish to use, and then the Go Back button to take us back to the Create Table dialog box. Does your table have headers? Yes, it does. Top row here are all headers, so that's okay. What you'll then notice is the style we've chosen then gets applied, and we then have a Table Tools Design ribbon. See, this has appeared here, Table Tools Design. Now if we click out of our table, that disappears. We click back in, it reappears. So it's a context sensitive ribbon, but it does not exist until the first time you format some cells as a table. Now we have extra options. You can see we have header row activated, but we don't have total row activated. If we activate that now, it actually inserts the total row for us, and it's formatted slightly differently. Now it has placed a single formula in there on the right, which is subtotaling that end column. That's not much use for what we're trying to achieve, it's just counting. So let's put in our own total function. Equals sum of that range there. And then we can replicate across. So the formatting has been arranged by the table formatting, and it has a darker background. We can have a first column. You can see that's changed the first column to slightly different than the other columns. A last column, and that changes the last column to be slightly different than the other columns. That would be more appropriate if the last column contained totals. So we'll turn that off. And you can even have banded columns. Now banded columns mean that every other column is a slightly different background color. Now we've got banded rows on and they don't quite work together. So we either have banded columns or banded rows. Working together, they just tend to mix and match a little. We can have the filter button or not. It is there, we have little drop options. If I take that tick out, the filters disappear. So that's formatting a set of data as a table. Now we chose an already pre-formatted area, and it's not quite been able to control these blue headings and our merged cell at the top. It's actually unmerged them and placed in column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4 as our headings. Not quite what we were after. If we took some raw data from scratch, then you'd see that we could format much easier. So let's use another working file, and you'll see the file's called Sales February. Plain as anything. We haven't done any formatting at all, and you'll see that here, if we use the format as a table, we have much more control and have less distractions. So again, we just need to click in. We don't need to highlight the data. Excel will pick that up for us. Format as a table. We have the same choices, a light set, a medium set, or a dark set. I quite like the dark. Let's go for the dark green. It's selected the right set of cells, so it's okay. And then we see in place our banded rows. Now we can make changes as we've done previously. We can take off the filter buttons. We don't want those at the moment. And we can see our headings are different. They're now grey on black because of the style we've chosen. We can choose different styles from our ribbon. Go down to a light style. Perhaps a medium blue one, that's fine. And then the other options we have, as well as the table style options, which we've looked at already. We can refresh the data. We can export this data table to a SharePoint list, or even to Visio if you have Visio installed. We can insert a slicer, and we will look at those when we do the data exports. And we have the options for removing the duplicates, summarize with a pivot table, and we will explore pivot tables to come. convert the table area to a range, so that would be a named range that you could then use in other formulas. And we can even give the table a sensible name. At the moment it's called table 2 because it's the second table we've created. So that's converting a set of data that looks tabular into a physical table for Excel, and that just makes it easier trying to control the formatting of the table.